Alright, y'all, we're going over Dev Diary 167, the greatest of them all. I want to be the very best. I can't get that out of my head. Oh, I did not actually switch over. There we go. The very best, like no one ever was. And say hi to YouTube. Fortunately, I cannot read Cyrillic. Today we'll be covering most of the nomadic flavor that we've introduced with this update, so without further ado. Oh, did I interrupt? Were you still typing, Mina? I'm sorry. I don't wanna stall for too long. Greatest of cons. Great are the plump princes in their southern fortresses. Great are the chieftains of the grass sea, but greatest. Only one is greatest, Genghis Khan, universal ruler. Khan of Khans, biggest and baddest boy. Well, actually, Genghis is only the greatest and baddest sometimes. In other playthroughs, the greatest of Khans will arise organically. Great one could even be you. Such to subjugate is my real test. Excellent. Greatest of cons traits, stats across the board. A lot of natural dread, reduced dread decay, huge vassal limit is great. Army gold maintenance is so powerful. Same culture opinion. More herd gain. Light cavalry siege progress? That's disgusting. Wow. These buffs, I know, right? Key point is that there's only one greatest. Once someone has become the greatest of cons, no ruler can ever again. It's the highest point of nomadic achievement and an absolute game changer. So yeah, should you or an AI ruler achieve the highest of titles in time, the Mongol invasion won't happen. That perilous time of nomadic conquest under a single mighty ruler has basically just come early. Conversely, if Temujin becomes Genghis in your game season, it's over for other aspiring greatest of Khans. He's the greatest of Khans, and there will be no other. So be mindful of your Mongol invasion game rule. That just makes sense. Now, it seems prudent to outline the path to becoming greatest of cons as well as the opportunity you're afforded to prevent others beating you to the finish line. All nomads can view the greatest of cons decision, but you must be dominance level 5, and therefore must also be the Gurkhan to take it. Call the clans, proclaim the world is yours, O Khan of Khans. And that though Khans and chieftains rise to deny you, you will become lord of all under the sky. Genghis Khan has not yet arisen. No other ruler has ever become greatest of Khans. No other ruler is already fighting a great war of defiance. Great war of defiance. You have the nomadic government, great step situation. Not at war. Oh, the Great Step is a situation, not a clash. Interesting. This term is probably going to be used again in the future. You have unrestricted dominance. Your level of fame is exalted among men. Your title is equal to empire. Realm size is 50 or more, including tributaries is 100 or more, either of those. All of your nomadic powerful vassals are obedient, and nomadic vassals and tributaries belong to 5 or more cultures. Above you can see some additional requirements. Not only must you be the first to achieve great conship in your playthrough, but you need an empire of substantial size and to command the obedience of a range of powerful nomads. Be warned, taking this big step will immediately provoke quite a war against all who'd like to stop you. There's much to be gained by winning the Great War of Defiance against those arrayed against you. and much to be lost by failure. Great War of Defiance will begin, pitting you against the strongest nearby ruler and nomads in and near your situation region. Some fearful rulers will become your tributaries rather than fight. Your obedient nomad vassals will aid you in this war. Okay. If you win, right, gain a Heroic Legends seed, you may choose a nickname, like Dort Yoling Kagan, Yukke Kagan, or Genghis Khan. Legitimacy is increased. Greatest of Khans Onslaught CB, thousands of special soldiers. Empire title with special quantities, and your dynasty gains golden lineage. If you lose, you're imprisoned and may be executed. Lose all landed titles, vassals, and tributaries. Lose most of your herd, prestige, and gold. This is legitimacy, right? We remembered last week. If I remember from last week, you decrease your legitimacy level to aspiring. You adopt the limited dominance law. You lose level of fame. It's risky. When you're ready to face an uncertain number of foes in order to achieve your grand destiny, click the button. The Great War of Defiance begins, and every nearby ruler in the steppe joins against you. At least one powerful non-nomad will join as well, since, like historical Byzantium and China, they certainly have no interest in a great steppe conqueror arising. The attacker's true strength is always at least double what's immediately shown here. Interesting. Though your obedient vassals will join on your side, this should be a stiff fight. The coalition of attackers from all sides, and if you're a player trying to stop an AI Gurkhan who's taken this decision, you'll be given a chance to join the cause and keep the greatest of Khans available for yourself. It can end poorly for the greatest of Khans. The least of Khans will not be the greatest of Khans. Steppe falls once more into anarchy. We'll have the world. That's a lot of men. And there it is. You or your fearsome foe get the greatest of Khans trait, a slew of big old nomadic armies, and the mission to conquer a big chunk of the world and establish your lasting reign within 75 years. This is done through the Reform the Great Khanate decision. But first, what tools you have of greatest of Khans for expanding your empire? One is the offer submission or ruin interaction, quite similar to awful vassalization but with more intense effects. Interesting. Army of special soldiers equipped with siege weapons is raised from his realm. Becomes your vassal, religiously protected, normal taxes, normal levy, loses money. Be merciful, demand soldiers, demand siege weapons, demand payment. Can demand armies of special troops if they're not feeling particularly lenient. If your offer of submission is rudely refused, a particularly devastating war is instantly declared on the recipient. This war slaughters courtiers, destroys buildings, reduces development, and even erases holdings. Wow. And hopefully makes other rulers more willing to simply submit to you peacefully. Your emissaries stank of horse and offered nothing but coarse threats to the noble realm of Minja. I had them killed. The CB used by offer submission or ruin is also available to the Great Khan independent of the interaction to be freely used for sieging whole realms. However, it only has its devastating refusal effects when incurred as a result of being refused. Understandable. The greatest Khans will lose these special capacities if they do not take the Reform the Great in time. Will lose these special capacities if they do not take Reform the Great in time. Okay. Possible end goal for them, and it is ever an in-game one, my dudes. It will allow you, with new de jure lands and a major choice, to establish an admin feudal clan empire, or raise civilization to the ground and let nomadism reign. I'll leave the specifics of that madness to your imagination. Reform the Great Cognate. Must be taken before this year and can only be taken once ever. You lose your immunity to disobedient cruel ties during succession. You'll complete the greatest Khan's conquest and avoid a humiliating loss of legitimacy and dominance. Kingdoms you completely control become de jure part of the Khitan Empire. Lose skilled tactician, gain exalted warlord. May choose to remain nomadic, spread nomadic government in your realm, and purge non-nomadic counties. Or you may choose to adopt feudal clan or admin government. Yurt buildings. The nomadic domicile lands somewhere between the landless adventurer's camp and the administrative estate in many aspects. While mobile like the camp, as you can gather from the wheels attached to the central yurt, it serves as the focal point for the whole realm rather than just a small group of adventurers. We tried to reflect that the domicile buildings referred hitherto as yurts. Reflect that with the domicile buildings. We hope they give nomads numerous ways to deal with the harshness of the steppe. As always, please be mindful that the numbers are not final and are prone to change. Champion's Yurt, Pearl of the Steppe, Coat Yurt, Family Yurt, Millet Storage. Okay. Each of the yurts provides various bonuses centered around particular aspects of nomadic life. There is one more yurt not visible in the screenshot above, the Barter Stalls, upgradable into Grand Bazaar. It can be constructed if your realm borders the settled people outside the steppe and connects to summon wealthy visitors, an established piazza system, decisions shown in the previous Dev Diary. Central Yurt gives you fort level, I guess, in the capital, defender advantage, domicile income, prestige, domicile building slots. It's a start, but not much. Resources, cunning, and higher dominance will need to expand your domicile. Unlocks 4th level buildings at level 3. Maximum vassal limit, herd capacity. Herd capacity percentage. Even more fort level, more defender advantage. Income, prestige, building slots. Without higher dominance levels, you cannot upgrade your central yurt, and without higher levels of the central yurt, you cannot construct and upgrade additional yurts. And without yurts, no yurts. Thus, your nomadic capital grows with your power and hopefully serves as a record of the road that got you there. As you can see, each yurt has internal slots for upgrades that allow for further customization. I'll be referring to them as yurts as well. It's all yurts now. It's yurts all the way down. Understood. Oh, the slots are right here. I totally glossed over that. Velvet Kulitai seats. Skill members' impact on tasks. Domicile prestige percentage. Example of main yurt upgrade. Yurts cost gold, prestige, and herd. While the costs are fairly low at the start, they get much higher with each upgrade. The steepest difference is the gold cost. As gold income for nomads is much smaller than for the settled people, fully upgraded yurts require a lot of gold redistribution via raiding. So what you can get for your hard-earned wealth. Square of Tumen. Can recruit heavy horse archers. Unlocks the Master of the Art of Command. Hiring a mercenary company gives you their troops as herd. Size of men-at-arms regiments. Max number of men-at-arms regiments. Movement speed. Etc., etc. I'm not going to read every single thing out loud because I'm getting tired. Feel free to pause on these if I go too fast. This yurt focuses heavily on warfare and raiding. If you're curious about the heavy horse archers men-at-arms, please keep on reading or quickly scroll down to the men-at-arms section. Understood. Mercenary wisdom, stacking modifier, okay. Gain a mercenary knight, mercenary higher cost, mercenary higher duration. If you wish to rely on cell swords, this yurt has you covered. Modifier gives you martial prowess and stewardship skills, available only on the 6th level. Footmen. Archers and skirmishers get better. If your tributaries provide you with archers and skirmishers, this yurt will allow you to squeeze extra value from them. Court yurt. High almoner, court chronicler demand herd interaction. Tributary taxes go up by quite a bit. Vassal herd contribution, intimidated vassal herd contribution, and terrified vassal herd contribution all go up. Herd capacity, defender advantage, hostile scheme chance. As one of the most trusted Temujin's advisors once said, conquering the world on horseback is easy. It is dismounting and governing that is hard. For when your glorious herd has swept the steppes, the court yurt will provide you with more tools to deal with your trusted subordinates and newfound subjects. Dog time. Oh good, I don't think it's being picked up. Cruelty by blood. Every year you have a chance for every dynasty member in your Cruelty to give a percentage of your herd limit. To gain percentage of your herd limit. Domicile prestige. If ruling the steppe is a family business for you, since only blood guarantees loyalty, this yurt will allow you to reap additional bonuses from having your step-aunts and step-brothers in your Cruelty. If you're curious about Cruelty, please continue reading. Being picked up a little? Okay. I wasn't seeing it getting picked up, but it looks like it may just be getting picked up when I speak. Camels. Fertility in desert, oasis, and drylands, and extra herd capacity. Upgrade to the fertility and herd-centered millet storage yurt. For others, the deserts are inhospitable and provide little fertility and herd. With a little investment, your nomads can thrive where others perish. There's similar yurts that cover other types of terrain as well, to further specialize. Some cultural traditions have received nomadic bonuses as well. Once again, more about it below. Obedience. We've already talked about obedience in our first nomadic dev diary, but as a refresher, obedience is a binary state for subjects and courtiers of nomadic rulers, increases the chance of peaceful migration and vassalization, and reduces the chance of a tributary breaking free or joining their allies in a war against their suzerain, as well as reducing the chance of a character using a murder scheme against their overlord or joining a faction against them. More importantly, obedience is the only way to guarantee a peaceful succession explained in our previous dev diary. Several factors impact obedience, like opinion, good relationship, being a Cruelty member, or being employed in a court position. Spouse and family also have higher spouses. Your spouse and family also have higher spouses, but only your preferred heir will. All other children of martial gender will look at your favorite with disdain, and their obedience may not be guaranteed. I don't think this is supposed to say spouses. Traits also impact how likely a character is to be obedient, and underage characters and herders will always be obedient. However, there are some tools that you can use to convince someone to become obedient to you. Negotiate obedience is an interaction that can use to bribe someone with herd or gold. Hey Viper, good to see you. Sorry, I saw a notification. I was checking. I saw a bunch of notifications all at once. I was checking if someone was trying to get a hold of me. Demand obedience costs prestige, but only with those with 45 dread or more will be able to intimidate their targets. Nice. Impose obedience is a new intent available for all types of hunts. Events are more likely to give you obedience as a reward, especially if the hunt is successful. Huh. I've always enjoyed this part of the mountain, Duke Alton observes as we march together. My father used to bring us here to hunt. Before I have time to reply, a buzzard comes diving at him, screeching like a newborn baby. Help, he yells. Nomadic court positions. Besides the Stargazer already covered previously, we need to add some other court positions to make the nomads feel unique from the feudal rulers. Good. In some cases, we've already renamed the positions, whereas for others, we've chosen to replace one position with another. Yeke Jarkuchi is the chief law overseer, who in many ways takes the role of seneschal for a feudal ruler. They ensure capital control, legitimacy, and obedience. They have access to the seneschal tasks, but also have access to a new task called Blend Cultures, which will increase culture acceptance within cultures in the realm. Ooh. Second is Boyan, one of your leading generals. It improves your military and gives you access to 2 new tasks, Cow Vassals and Prepare Raid. Third is the Yurtchi, a position similar to the quartermaster that oversees both your camp and your troops. It has access to 2 tasks, either decreasing everyone's opinion of you and costing a lot of prestige but gaining gold, or spending gold to increase everyone's opinion of you and popular opinion. Boyan what? Boyan Yurt? I don't know. Keeper of the Horses ensures your steeds are well equipped for war and travel. They also have access to the 2 tasks the Master of the Horse usually have access to. Siege Engineer is instrumental if you want to start sieging areas outside the steppe. It has access to the task to increase fort level in your lands, but also has a new task that gives you a chance to get siege weapon men-at-arms, which is usually harder for nomads to get access to. This position can only be held by someone with the military engineer trait, so you will likely have to look outside the steppes to find a fitting candidate. Love that. So not boy in maid dress? I didn't say it was out of the question. Cherby. As the chief of the bodyguards, the Cherby will improve other bodyguards, give access to more knights, and increase some of your men-at-arms. They can also access the regular bodyguard task and the new task that improves your scheme defenses. And Foreign Emissary. For those with many tributaries, it has access to the task Entertain Courtiers from the Court Jester, and a new task to increase culture acceptance and gain opinion from your tributary cultures. Alright, the Crueltai. Nomadic rulers no longer have access to the regular council, but instead have a unique Crueltai set up for its council. They keep the Spymaster, but the rest of the positions have been replaced. Interesting. Each of the 4 Crueltai members have access to the same 8 tasks. Got it. 2 diplomacy, 2 stewardship, 2 martial, 2 learning. 2 tasks have been moved from regular counselors to the Crueltai, increase control and domestic affairs. As for the other tasks, let's start with their new default. Support herders. Increased by their diplomacy, herd gain and capacity goes up. That's it, and can increase or decrease your herd size. It's a simple diplomacy task, but they can always fall back on to improve herd gain and capacity for their liege. Manage fertility. County fertility growth goes up based on stewardship, can increase, reduce, or cause prestige loss. For the nomads who are growing larger and more settled down, they should consider utilizing the managed fertility task to ensure their lands are well taken care of as possible. Whereas the smaller nomad planning to migrate more often, maybe you just want to squeeze the land before moving on. Then it might be good if you can get as much as possible before moving on. Exploit lands. Lowers fertility, but gives you more income. You can gain gold, reduce fertility, or lose county opinion. If you're interested in being a tourist in foreign lands, this will enable you to maximize the number of souvenirs you can bring home again. More loot, less attrition, raid speed. Excellent. Aid Stargazer. If you want to maximize the potential of your Stargazer and their predictions, having a well-taught Kurultai member who can help out will be key to improving their aptitude. Explore cultures. If you're more interested in hybridizing your culture or changing something around, you should look to the final new task. This will mesh well with the 2 new court position tasks we've added to improve cultural acceptance in you or your tributary lands. 3 of these tasks can only be done by 1 member at once. Organize raiders, aid Stargazer, and explore cultures. Excuse me. Because otherwise they would likely be too effective or work funkily. Fair. 2 tasks cannot be done in the same province at once. Manage fertility and exploit lands. Similar reasons. Because they're pretty much doing the opposite of one another. Oh, I misread what it was saying. Yeah, can't do those at the same time. Exploit lands can only be done inside your domain instead of the realm at large. Found it was way too good if you could simply squeeze your vassals dry by exploiting their land. Also, as you may have noticed in the first picture, small UIs change to how their tasks look. It was pretty noisy to have 8 tasks shown for all 4 members at all times. We added a little window you can open and close to choose the tasks you want. I did notice that. Good improvement. Nomads on the steppe hunted all the time. It was a way of life for them. To represent this, we couldn't leave hunts exactly as they were, costing gold, which is a resource that nomads generally do not have. Instead, they cost herd and have a host of additional benefits for nomads in particular. Nomads pay a nominal amount of herd to start their hunt activities, and upon finishing a hunt, they gain a stocked meat modifier, which reduces the cost of their next feast. Perfect way to get the gold required for hosting Sagan Sars. Gain stocked meat, gain dread, gain prowess. Okay. Nomads tend to find a lot more animal sightings through their flavor content, which boosts success chance for any hunt hosted in those provinces. Some seasons have special hunt events like Everlasting Summer. They'll get sightings for regular game, birds, and dangerous beasts, the latter of which has additional benefits to hunt. Taking down dangerous beasts such as wolves will give you both dread, currency very useful for nomads, and prowess, both to you and all of your hunters. Dread and prowess from hunting a wolf. Expect to be invited to many hunts on the steppe, as AI nomads are always on the hunt for more prestige, and will now, in addition to who they previously invited, invite their tributaries, suzerains, and potential friends and lovers to their hunts. Moving to a more flavorful topic, the Nomad Feast, the Sagan Sar. Observed in the coldest months of the year, December to March, Sagan Sar ensured the new year started with a bout of revelry and many would exchange gifts. Choosing a preferred gift for the feast. As the host, you can choose which gift you'd prefer to receive, and as a guest, send a gift to the host. Sagan Sar brings encounters not seen at a regular feast. Race against your peers, gamble against your local yurt's drunkard, or even demand gifts from your guests. And of course, you cannot forget a staple of steppe culture, throat singing. During your feast, you can learn a throat singing style, which can benefit you in tournaments. Love that. That's so unnecessary. They didn't have to add this. For followers of Tingri, the feast concludes with a declaration honoring the animal according to the lunar calendar. There are 12 different animals associated with the lunisolar calendar, each offering a different boon. Pig. Celebrated the new year and has been blessed by the pig. Stewardship, domicile construction, time, and speed. Time goes up, but cost goes down. I said time and speed, which are the same thing. Building on the hunt changes mentioned before, nomads have access to a new hunt type, the Nurga. Known as the Great Hunt, dozens of hunters would gather in the steppe to slay hundreds of animals. Along with being an opportunity to gain prestige, this new hunt type gains a unique intent: dreadful. The Nurga was not only an opportunity to slaughter beasts for the new feast, but is a great way to flex your tributaries and vassals. Contrary to a traditional hunt, the Nurg was used to practice military tactics that led to Mongol victories. If your Nurg is successful, along with gaining prestige, gold, and legitimacy, you'll bring the strategies used into battle via commander traits and experience. I'm going to be saying this word constantly. All right, it's not giving me any results. Except for those AI voice videos, and I'm not going to play one of those on stream. Pleasure Dome. With land secured and home settled, my thoughts are naturally drawn to ponder what mark I might leave on this earth. What better than a palace of perfect splendor where lofty fountains flow with wine and the gardens thrill in all their majesty? What better way to immortalize your legacy as a mighty Khan than to construct a leisure palace fit for a conqueror? This decision becomes available to you once you have the kingdom title. Based on a vision in a dream, the Kubla Khan poem by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, favorite here among the development staff. Reduced cost for holding a feast. Summoned fair courtiers becomes available. The decision. Holding gets taxes, prestige, scheme, success chance, personal scheme. Okay. Decision allows you to construct the Pleasure Dome building, offering a substantial bonus to your feast, taxes, prestige, schemes, and grandeur. It is said that different kinds of wine flowed from its silver tree fountain. Sign me up, please. Summon 3 comely, handsome, or beautiful courtiers. You can now invite courtiers with congenital beauty traits. It's time to secure your dynasty's lineage. Did my music stop? Yes. YouTube. Hello, Zoe. How are you doing? Oh, and thanks for the stretch. Jeez. Excuse me. The Burkhan Khaldun is one of the Kaledi Mountains in northeastern Mongolia. The mountain had a special religious significance to the people of the steppe, as it was the mystical birthplace of the historical Genghis Khan. To reflect that, we've added a special building to the map, giving out piety and renown rewards, as well as some military advantages to having control over such an imposing natural feature. Fort level defender advantage, popular opinion, county fertility growth in mountainous terrain in the county, piety, renown, and clergy opinion for the holder. Expanding the steppe. Oh, bother. You might say in your most empathic Winnie the Khan voice. The steppes are too small, and my realm has overflowed into a neighboring region full of icky settled people and not enough pasturage for my herds. I don't do a good Winnie the Pooh voice, I'm sorry. Worry not, O horse lord of the 1,000-acre steppe. You can expand the steppe if your grip on these new lands is firm enough. We grow strong in our homeland, but the conquests and adventures have taken us further and further away from our old pastures and hunting grounds, and towards lands filled with settled people and sedentary customs. We should introduce our way of life to these new and strange lands. Completely control, through vassals or tributaries, specific regions that neighbor the existing steppe, and with enough prestige and pizzazz, you can add your conquered region to the steppe. giving these new lands much needed fertility and making it easier to migrate around as a good nomadic ruler. Even more regions can be added as the steppe grows. The only limit is the endurance of your horde and how far they're willing to ride. Excuse me. If your character is an adventurer, there's a chance the nomadic life will appeal to them. For this, we've added a special decision to adopt the nomadic ways. Ooh. You hybridize with the local culture, adopt the nomadic government, gain the local county title, 25% of your provisions are converted into herd, gain the trait Way of the Nomad. If you move your count to a county held by a herder, you'll be able to take over their lands and hybridize with the local culture, becoming a proper nomad. A percentage of your provisions will be transformed into herd, and you'll join the Great Steppe situation. However, if that herd was a tributary or vassal to a previous ruler, you'll be asked to become a tributary yourself or make an awful first impression. Special CB. Besides the migration, invasion, tributization, and nomadic quarrels, we've added 2 extra new types of CB only available to nomads. The humiliation CB is available to target a ruler of higher dominance than you, or the Gurkhan. This is a great tool to try and stop someone on their way to become greatest of Khans. If you win a humiliation war, the loser is forced to go down 1 dominance level, putting the regular 5-year cooldown on them to prevent it from changing back immediately, and to pay part of their herd and prestige to you, as well as some of their obedient vassals deciding that they should not obey a defeated liege. This is really making me want to play King of Dragon Pass on stream. I would be so terrible at it if I tried to play it now, but I might. The Retaliation CB becomes available when a character migrates into one of your tributaries' lands and decides to not pay tribute to you. If you win a retaliation war, you will force the character to become your tributary regardless and make them pay some herd and prestige to you in addition to that. Recruit courtiers from nomadic capital. Now you're the leader of a nomadic people. It feels wrong not to have skilled hunters and other characters ready at your will. Because of this, we've added a recruit from nomadic capital decision, where you can choose to spend a nominal amount of herd, symbolizing the ones you recruit can no longer manage their flocks, in exchange for 3 courtiers of the desired type. Wow. Hunters, knights, commanders, shepherds, brides, husbands. These characters will be of the culture and faith of your people and will generally be quite skilled. Not all types are available from the start though, some require you to construct specific yurt buildings. Perfect way to get skilled hunters for your hunt activities, where the hunting skill of the guest affects success chance. That's really big. You can also get good knights, commanders, shepherds, good as vassals, brides, and husbands. With herd being the bread and butter of a nomadic ruler and the main currency, there are multiple ways to obtain it. Landed rulers can increase their taxes, ask their head of faith for gold, and others can trade hooks for gold. But as a ruler of the steppe, you have no such options. So how will you obtain herd outside of normal means? Well, since you cannot embezzle or launder large flocks of animals, the next best thing is to steal. You'll be able to choose how much herd to steal, and bigger amounts make the task more difficult. The scheme uses agents, ensuring your thievery is a success. Love this. This is awesome. If you manage to succeed in stealing another ruler's herd, there's a small chance of gaining additional outcomes. You can go for more herd, some of the ruler's gold, his wife, or even a head start on a murder plot against them. Incredible. Y'all, I'm going to steal some wives. I love this. New cultural traditions. Before we started working on the expansion, the cultural tradition selection for nomads was a bit bland. The big three of horse lords, malleable invaders, and steppe tolerance were present for almost all the cultures, meaning there was little difference between the Kimeks and Mongols. And since all three were required to have access to nomad-like flavor and mechanics, further customization was heavily limited. Now with all the shiny, bright new features and content this DLC brings you, this is no longer the case. The starting cultural traditions have been rearranged, some existing traditions have received new effects and modifiers, and we have new ones as well. I guess the old channel motto is back then? Not quite, but I did almost say it by the other day. Recruit Mangudai as men-at-arms. All Mongol characters, prowess, health, herd conversion into riders, herd capacity, county fertility in mountains, archer cav, and nomadic horde are better. The strength of the inner steppe. The Mongols start with this tradition, and while all nomad cultures can get it as well, it is much more expensive with cultures with heritage other than Mongolic. For details on Mangutai men-at-arms, keep reading. Iron Cavalry can recruit cataphract archers. Gallant, Overseer, and Strategist provide bonuses to heavy cavalry men-at-arms. Less herd conversion into riders. Light, heavy, and archer cavalry are tougher. Where the steppe warriors meet the ironworking wonders of the settled people, Turkmen and Oghuz cultures have this tradition at the game start. Tribes of the North can recruit Martukan warriors as men-at-arms. Start with Siberian permafrost modifier that reduces development and control. If the holder and county have a culture with this cultural tradition, does not lower control and provides bonuses. Siberian permafrost modifier can be removed by the expand the steppes decision or the feudalized tribe interaction. Tribal building upgrades do not require innovations in counties of this culture that have Siberian permafrost. Cannot take the adopt feudal ways and adopt feudal ways through liege decisions. Wow, this is weird. Advantage in provinces affected by winter, building construction cost and forest down. Forest, taiga are less dangerous and more advantage in building. Interesting. This one is a bit different. It's present for the cultures that border the northern end of the map. The Buryats, Kyrgyz, Ostoks, Oirats, and the Permians. Some of these have a nomadic government like the Buryats, while the Ostoks and Permians are still tribal. These tribes had a history of defiance while faced with adversaries. Heirs of Temujin, ruling over the vast lands, still needed to endeavor a punitive expedition every decade or so to bring the northerners to heel, if only for prestige's sake. This tradition can be attained via hybridization. It is heavily connected to the Siberian permafrost county modifier. The modifier is placed on the game's start to counties up north, and it offers some powerful bonuses while preventing development growth and the creation of a feudal state with stone castles. Huh. Can be removed by expand the steppes for northern Siberia. Defender advantage, development decline is huge. Additional building slots. Building construction costs in forest and taiga. Additionally, we've added new nomadic effects to some of the existing cultural traditions to make them more viable and interesting choice when riding across the Great Steppe. Below you have a couple of examples. Stalwart Defenders unlocks a special yurt and gives toughness bonus to nomadic herd. Pastoralist provides a fertility boost in certain terrains and increases the fertility growth of herders. Okay. New men-at-arms. Do you ever pop open CK to play as your favorite steppe people? Flip open your army tab and see that you have pikemen, siege weapons, and some other units that don't exactly represent the riders of your tribe. It was clear what had to be done for the Nomad's men-at-arms in this expansion. They needed to be limited from units that are much more emblematic of sedentary armies, and they needed some cool men-at-arms of their own. So there you go. If you're playing a Nomad with no unique men-at-arms through traditions, your main way to get heavy light infantry, pikemen, archers, and proper siege weapons is through your non-nomadic tributaries. How exactly this works was outlined in Dev Diary 165. But forget about those dorks plodding around in the dust in their soft little civilized shoes. You don't need their men-at-arms. As a mighty nomad, you need only and are extremely skilled as cavalry. Steppe riders, cataphract archers, nomad or lancers, heavy horse archers, and torchbearers. The men-at-arms units available to the Khan of Great Liao in 1066. Did you pause again, YouTube? No. The main mass of nomadic armies aren't levies. These are replaced with the less pathetic horde riders, which are converted over from horde size when armies are raised, as we've discussed before. Even though they're of course themed after horse archers, they don't have the archer cavalry type, in order to limit the effects of bonuses and counters. Otherwise, those could easily get out of hand, given horde archers make up the vast majority of every nomadic army. Right. That's fine. That's fair. Looks like steppes, desert, and flatlands or steppes, drylands, and flatland and plains give them bonuses. I don't remember the exact symbols. Horse archers, they're largely unchanged. Steppe raiders are nomadic light cavalry, which are better suited to dry and rough terrain than other nomadic cavalry units, receiving only mild penalties in hills, mountains, and wetlands. They're also available to all nomads. Okay. Wow, a lot of bonuses. A lot of terrain bonuses, too. Nomadic rulers won't have direct access to real, substantially effective siege weapons until they can get a sweet tributary connection to hook them up. They'll make do with torchbearers. Even worse than onagers, at least the standard normal siege unit gets a siege bonus against nomadic holdings. Oh yeah, that's real bad. Okay. Only unlocked by building the Square of the Tumen domicile building, heavy horse archers are a more costly alternative with more fighting punch, and a very handy counter against light cavalry and elephants. To counterbalance this, they suffer more penalties in harsh terrains. Wow, that 100 power is huge. 142. 101 and 42 is huge. The second level of dominance allows nomad lancers to be recruited. What this means is nomadic rulers of means have access to heavy cavalry, even right at the 867 game start. Incredible. The Mongol tradition, Wolves of the Deep Steppe, gives them access to Mandugai. These vainglorious warriors have very high attack and pursuit, but low defense, meaning that they devastate defeated armies and leave few survivors. Their reckless attack and repeated retreats excel at breaking up formations, allowing armies with Mandugai to counter heavy infantry and spearmen. Inspired by the Tungut Iron Harriers and the Mamluks, this unit is available to a spread of cultures that were known for their employment of heavy armored horse archers. Note, however, that this unit's type is heavy cavalry and not archer cavalry. This allows cataphract archers to counter archer cavalry, and one is the best ways to fight back against steppe conquerors. Okay. That's not a panini press on his chest, that's armor. The Martukan warriors represent foot archers from all along the northern Siberian frontier, drawing particular inspiration from the normal Khanty warriors, which lent the unit its name. The glorious guard of Genghis himself can be yours should you make it far enough down the nomadic dynasty legacy. You're limited to hiring just one regiment of the special unlock, but increase that regiment in size and you'll see it packs quite the punch. The normal cunty warriors, yeah. Why not? I was curious how captions were taking that, but no, that's not correct captions, but that's okay. I'm not gonna fight you on this one. And with that, we reach almost the end of our development diaries dedicated to Con of the Steppe. We'll go over the modding support, art, and music in the future, but this is our last feature spotlight. Thank you for reading. Go forth and conquer. I'm hype about this. I like that they're taking time to work on the Siberian tribes, even though those are non-nomadic, non-steppe cultures, because that area has needed a lot of love for a long time, and it's going to show even more next to all the work that they're doing for the cons, for the nomads, excuse me. You know, the other thing, I think the cultural rework is going to be interesting. I love that we can do cattle raids and steal cattle through a scheme. That's going to just be so much fun for me. This is all solid. I think they're going down the correct path for nomads. I think I've said that before, that like a lot of this is going to work out into the details. And I think the details should be enjoyable and solid. So that is my thought on that. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, blah, 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 give me your firstborn child, all that other stuff I'm supposed to say. How did you get this far and not subscribe? That's silly of you. Go ahead and do it. YouTube, I will see you next week. Twitch, we're going to keep chatting for a bit.